Namaste. Welcome to my channel Swasth Janani. I am Shivani, wishing you all happy Women's Day. Today I have a very special guest with me who happens to be like one of us, yet very different. Her name is Sunita Ghosh. I call her Ghosh Auntie. Very dear friend who has been fighting breast cancer for more than a decade now. Fight is still going on, yet Ghosh Auntie lives her life to fullest. One of the most positive persons I have ever seen in my life. Purpose of today's conversation is simple: to know what it takes to be resilient when we have such situations. Particularly for women, we have a lot going on as a mother, wife, professional, etc., etc., etc. Ghosh Auntie says she does not come on camera without putting her lipstick on. Let's see if she's ready. Ghosh Auntie, are you ready?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I'm very much ready with lipstick on. And thank you so much for having me on your program of Swas Janani. I'm
A very,
absolutely delighted.
very, very, very warm welcome and thank you. How are you feeling?
Absolutely fine.
Okay, so yeah, tell us something about yourself, a brief introduction, who you are. And
Um, I'm a very, very ordinary lady in her 60s, ordinary woman in her 60s, but who is sweet 16 at heart. And I'll let you on to a secret that all senior citizens are young at heart. Unfortunately, their bodies become older and they become frail and more susceptible to ailments. And the bodies grow older, but the heart and the mind is still young. And people see only the older bodies and they treat them like that and expect certain behaviors from them. And then we have to play the role. So that's it.
about your children, your husband.
My husband is now retired. He was an army officer. I have two children, one daughter who lives in Sweden, and my son lives in Goa.
As I mentioned in the beginning, that the purpose of this conversation is to, to know what it takes to be there when you have to face something. So now I'll touch upon your health journey, and I really want to know that um, how it started, and then what were you going through? How did you take up the challenge?
First of all, this happened about 12 years back when I first was diagnosed. And that time, the big C was a dreaded word. That the moment anyone was diagnosed with cancer, it was like a death sentence. And because that's the way it was in society, so when I felt a lump in my breast and I thought that I will have to go to the doctor. I didn't know which doctor to go to. So I went to a gynae and she saw it and she said, okay, take an ultrasound. So I went to take an ultrasound and this was in Oman, where the health services are not as good as they are in India. And so she did the ultrasound, and the moment she did it, she got very panicky and she says, right next door is a hospital where they have a mammography. And though you always have to take an appointment, but I will call them up right now and tell them to take you in now. And you must go for a mammography. So I told her, I said, no, I can't go right now because I was heading for work and I had just stopped at the hospital to have a checkup. So I said, I can't go now. I have to go. I have to reach at a certain time. So she says, no, 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 you have to go. So I said, no, I will go. I will take an appointment and then I will go tomorrow. So I did just that. And I took an appointment. I went there. And so, of course, the moment I saw her reaction, I knew that there is something. So I went to the hospital. I had taken an appointment. So this girl, young girl, she did my mammography and she came and patted me on the shoulder, and she said, "Take care." So I said, "Thank you." And I went out and I was waiting for the result. So the way she patted me, I could somehow again feel, that, oh, it's something. So then they told me you'll have to wait for a couple of hours. So I said, my residence was quite far. So I said, instead of going back and coming back again, I'll just wait. So I went for a bit of shopping here and there, and I came back, and she told me that, yeah, it's done, but who's with you? So I said, there's nobody with me. I've come on my own. Saying, how did you come? I said, I drove my car and came. So she says, no, you bring who lives here with you? So I said, my husband. So he says, you call him. I said, look, he's in office. He can't come just now. I'm here. You give me my report. So she says, okay, wait. So she went in, talked to the doctor, and um, then she came out again. And, she was very, very reluctant to give me the report. And by that time, I was definite that there is something, that they don't want me to be alone. And so, sure enough, she said it's malignant. So I said, okay, now what should I do? So he's saying, who sent you? I said, a gynae sent me. He's saying, you'll have to show to an oncologist and to a medical oncologist. At that time, I didn't even know that there are different oncologists, that there is a radiation oncologist, there's a surgical oncologist, and there's a medical oncologist. Anyway, so I rang up my husband and I told him, I said, this is what has happened. So he says, um, and like, he's also very cool about this. He, it didn't even strike him that I would be upset or not be able to drive or something like that. So he says, what you do is you just come straight to the office, and there is a doctor there, and I'll just speak to him. So I said, okay, I'm coming. So I went to the office and we spoke to the doctor, and he says, you take a flight today, go to India, go and get the operation done. And then, so I said, look, hold on. I've got my life here. I'm not going like this. Let me find out. And fortunately for me, I was conducting exams for British Council, IELTS exams and other medical exams and also. And the next day only, I was conducting an exam for the doctors. And there were a whole lot of doctors from the Sultan Qaboos University. So I found an Indian doctor and I told her, look, this is my report and I want to show it to an oncologist. Can you help me? So she says, call so and so, and they will give you an appointment. And there it was, so it was all fixed. So then, of course, there were certain other circumstances in our family life. I had to move to India for the rest of my uh, journey of the treatment. So, like, because of that perception that we had that this is a death sentence. So when I was going through the journey, so I kept thinking, oh, like then I got a call from an aunt who's also a doctor, and she says, oh, you have to be very careful. So I said, but I'm fine. So she says, no, it's going to come. When you start your chemo, it's going to come. So when the chemo started, it was terrible. In the meantime, my daughter and my son, they had come, they had joined us there. It was terrible. But then I thought, terrible, but not insurmountable. So let's see what's next. So, and then the chemos happened, the surgery happened, the radiation happened, and every time I kept thinking, yeah, this is okay, but I can manage this. It's not as though I'm going to die. And if I die, it's fine. Death is something that comes to everybody. So I think the mantra that worked for me at that time was that a friend had told me. one day at a time. Don't think too far ahead. Just think of today. And that really worked very well for me. After that, when I met you, that time I was at the fag end of my first cancer journey. And I was still having my targeted therapies. I used to go every 21 days to Delhi and get my therapy and come back. Then we moved to Bombay. 8 years, I had 8 glorious years there. Enjoyed. I had to take one tablet a day, and that was fine. I, at the age of 60, I learned how to swim. I was doing a lot of volunteer work. I was having a great time, enthusiastic life, lots of friends, doing whatever I wanted. And I think I had a bit of pride in me that I felt I'd beaten cancer. Uh, I went in for a routine mammography and it was back.
You mentioned that you kind of had a pride in you, so it just come on that point. We missed
Yeah,
it.
okay. So these 8 years while I was on that medicine, which was supposed to protect me from a repeat, so I was very happy with myself that, I've beaten cancer. I'm fine. I'm doing so well. And I was, everyone, whoever had cancer would sort of call on me to come and counsel uh, other people. And I would always be giving them the same mantra: go slow, be positive, take one day at a time, and it'll soon be over. And I never thought it would, that I'm so positive that it will come back to me. So my pride had to be shattered. So 8 years on, it came back. It came back and in a more dreadful form. It was more negative, more powerful, and more spread out than it had been before. So if I had my way, I would have said, I don't want to go through it again. But we don't live a life in isolation. We are part of a family, we are part of a society. So family would never allow that. So they said, no, you have to go through it. Soon it'll be over. And I also thought, that, okay, fine, I'll go through it. So my daughter, my daughter-in-law, my husband, both of them were out. She was in Goa, she was in Sweden. They all came over. They took charge of my life, and then we started all the rounds to the doctors. They tried to keep me happy. We had a happy pre-chemo party. We danced and you know enjoyed ourselves. My son-in-law is sending all kinds of things from Amazon, whatever could be delivered on that moment: ice cream, harpic, odone. So we were having a virtual family gathering, and the next day was chemo. Yeah, so we went through the chemo. It was what it was. But slowly, slowly we got over it. But these two were always trying to keep me cheerful. I lost my hair and we would have fun in trying out all the scarves and the different styles and everything. Actually, losing my hair never bothered me, even the first time. If I'd had my way, I would just go out with a new head. But society gets very scared on seeing a woman who doesn't have any hair. Like even the maids who would come to my house, and so everybody tell me, cover your hair because she's getting scared. She thought, God knows what this creature is. So,
I'll interrupt you here. So when you said that you did not feel anything bald head, you were fine with that. But people get scared. So what do you think? Why are we scared? What are we scared of? Of the reality? What are we
your
scared of?
voice is breaking, Shivani.
Oh,
I
okay.
think, when we say that people get scared when they see you like that, it is a defensive reaction because they are hot. It is like death. Why don't we ever talk about death? Because it is something so certain. Everybody knows we are going to die, but we don't want to talk about death because I don't want to face it. I don't want to face that reality. When you see a woman with a bald head, it is a reminder that it is cancer. And oh my God, it can happen to me too. So I think it scares them.
When you said that you were all alone in the hospital, I mean, she kept on asking you, call somebody who's with you, and uncle called you, and he was expecting, okay, she will come and drive. So, what were you always that kind of person that you hear from a doctor that you are having a cancer, and it did not bother you? Were you that kind of person always, or it's just that you were keeping yourself sane? That I need to keep myself sane.
Um, I would say that at that point, yes, I was trying to keep my wits around me, and it really didn't scare me. And I think right from childhood also, this was something that I learned, I think, from my mother, that she she would never let anything bother her. She would just tackle it head on. Like something's happened, then before creating a noise about it, just deal with it. So I think that is a habit I got from her. And I like to think that, yeah, throughout, even with my children, um, I had my daughter, when she was just 6 months old, she had a fall and her leg got paralyzed. And I took her to the doctor and I was told that this is what has happened. And all you've got to do is just keep her on a hard surface and she'll become all right. And I did just that. And she has become all right. So I somehow, even that time, I just dealt with it like, okay, I just have to deal with it. He said it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. It never occurred to me that let me go around to all doctors and take second opinions or whatever. So I think that's how I was.
So, okay, not thinking too much,
Yeah,
now this
not thinking too
happened,
much. Just, yeah,
creating one after the other, the thought, okay, now this
yeah,
happened. If she's
yeah,
not able to walk tomorrow, what will happen? Then this and then, and pile up,
yeah, yeah.
build up the
And
story.
this is Shivani, my learning from my second bout of cancer, that what I used to feel was my mantra one day at a time. What the second time taught me was that it's not, one day is far too long. It's one moment at a time. Don't go beyond the moment. Live in the moment, enjoy it fully, deal with it fully. If it has brought sorrow, deal with it. And let the next moment bring what it brings. Because one day from morning to evening is 24 hours. Anything can happen. Even from one moment to one moment, things can happen. So that changed my mantra a lot, my perspective a lot.
And you also mentioned that you learned swimming at the age of 60 or so, right?
Yeah, because when we went to Bombay, we were fortunate enough to have a swimming pool in our society. And then I found that there was an instructor coming, and there were many adults also who used to go to him for many ladies. So I said, why not a senior citizen also? So I went and asked him, and he says, of course, why not? So, and he taught me all the strokes, and I used to love it. And I felt very good, doing all these things because I didn't want ever to be reminded or be told that, no, you should be careful, you should not do this, you should not do that. Like my family started telling me now, you should take it easy, keep a cook, and you relax. So I said, no, I enjoy cooking. And for a long time, I continued to do my own housework and uh, cooking and everything. But it was only after my second bout that I had to take it easier not because I wanted to, but because the body was giving up. So then the mind said, okay, but let's relax and let's do something else.
So, do you think that keeping yourself busy
Yes,
that
yes,
helps?
yes, that helps a lot. That helps a lot. Keeping yourself busy and being happy. I think being happy with the work that you do, whatever you are doing, if it gives you happiness, and being active, because if you let yourself go and if you feel okay, now I can't move, I can't do that, yeah, body is very flexible. If you tell the body that you're getting old, so it's ready to go to sleep all the time. But if you sort of snap your fingers and you say, come on, get up, get going, it does.
Age is just a number.
It is just enough. Absolutely. It's just enough.
So, these days in Goa, how are you keeping yourself busy?
uh, Goa, I came here and I didn't know a soul here except my son and daughter-in-law. And my daughter-in-law happened to get a job in Bombay, so she moved there. So there was absolutely no one. So just by chance, I happened to see a plant workshop, which was going to be held very close to the house. So I said, oh, this is a place where I can go. So I went, and there started the romance with plants. And now I have attended so many workshops, online, offline, and so I've got so many plant friends now. And so yeah, I'm quite happy. And then I don't part of my house gets sun, part of it doesn't get sun, so sort of shifting them around and doing all of that. And then I've also found an NGO where they have agreed to let me come and spend some time there. So, which was only recently. So, I think from next week onwards, we'll be going there. So, I'm quite happy.
You know how to be happy. So, while listening to your story, I'm thinking of that inner strength, divine strength, or feminine divine strength, Shakti.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts about it? Do you really think that Shakti exists, or you think it's just your willpower that keeps you going?
I definitely agree with this ancestral view that there is a divine feminine power. We women have an uncanny resilience compared to men. And we just need to realize that we do and honor it. Willpower, yes, but I think all women, when they are confronted with difficulties or any challenges, they rise to the occasion much more easily than men do. Men can manage and handle the outside world, but when it comes to emotional life, I think they find it difficult. They find that.
Do you have a message for women of your age, my age? Do you want to say
Women
something?
of my age, I think they are all doing very well. So uh, they're all very strong. But we need to recognize that we have special abilities and uh, and respect that. We don't need to demand equality with men as such, because in many ways we have greater potential uh, than they do in many areas of our life. So let's celebrate our own abilities rather than trying to compare ourselves with them. And we are actually already ahead of them in many ways. And the message that I would say to anyone is that face life head on and meet every challenge and say, I've got this. What next?
Beautiful.
Thank you for having me, Shivani.
Thank you so much. I know tomorrow you're going for therapy again, and today you are here with me. Thank you. And I really appreciate that you agreed to speak about your health
My
journey.
honor and privilege.
Thank you so much, and much love to
Thank
you.
you. Same to you.
And happy Women's Day
Happy Women's Day to everybody.
to
Thank
everybody.
you.
My takeaway today after listening to you is be happy.